Do you want to know how to talk to your child about mass shootings? I hate that we're even having this conversation, but I know that sometimes it's essential to have these conversations. I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, and education, all through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about how to have sensitive conversations with our children. In this video, we're going to talk about some of the things that our children are processing nowadays, what's been going on around us, and then we're going to talk about steps that you can take to have good conversations with your children about some of these hard things like mass shootings. I was actually recently at an event where a person was shot and killed. This was shocking to me. I've been at two events. One of them was a funeral. This other one was just a public event where a person was shot and killed. I don't know why I ended up there, except for just, maybe to have the experience to help other people somehow. There's nothing that prepares you for those types of experiences. So I don't know if you're watching this video today, if your children have been through something that's really close to them, like maybe a mass shooting that's happened right in your area, maybe in your school, in a park, in a church. I hate that I'm even saying that, but that's the world we live in right now, isn't it? It's so uncertain. There's so many things that, so much wickedness that's just around us, so much hate. It's leading people to be wild in so many ways. So I don't know if that's what you're dealing with, or if you're dealing with just processing the stuff that maybe we hear on the news. Because even the news itself can just be so incredibly shocking, and the children are having a hard time figuring out how to process all of this. Why, when a person is just hardwired to self-protect and to respect their own life, why would they ever go and try to take somebody else's life? They don't understand the mental condition that some of these attackers are in. I mean, obviously, it's horrible. It's sad. It's disheartening to know that some of these people are in such a mental state that they would get to the place where they're at, where they think they need to kill somebody else somehow, or they're in such a dark place where they've listened to the wrong voices, the wrong forces, and have been fooled in that direction toward hurting other innocent people. That's a hard thing to process and to understand. And obviously I've got deep sympathies and compassions for people that are in that place of mind, but I also know that it's not okay. It's never okay. And we need to make sure our children know that we are going to protect them, that we're going to help keep them safe, that this is not something that is a usual occurrence, that this is a very unusual occurrence, so that they can feel like life is safe and it's going to be okay for them. So children have higher levels of anxiety anyway, so when they hear things on the news like people got shot at school or at their church, that could make them wonder and worry if they're going to be safe at school or safe at their churches and other just places in the community, just because things are getting so wild. And I wish I could say that, if enough of these instances hit the news, then maybe they won't happen. But I think we'll see the opposite happening. I think as time is going by, people are becoming more selfish, more dark, and they're starting to take out their emotions on innocent people more and more. And so it could be that these are things that we see more of. So they need to understand where true freedom comes from. It is important that you discuss with your child the mental state that a person would have to be in to do something like this. And that's going to be hard for them to grasp, right? But you might say something to your child like, we saw in the news this terrible thing that happened at a church. And when people are going to a church, they're going there because they want light and they want to feel the love of God. And this other person came to hurt them because this person had a different feeling inside. They had a feeling of hate, but they might have had other things going on inside their head too. Maybe they had hate, but maybe they also had confusion happening inside their heads. And when we feel things in our heads like we can't think straight, or we're starting to feel like we aren't liking people, or we're starting to feel these feelings of hate, we need to go and talk to somebody about it. These people that oftentimes go and do these terrible things, they don't talk to other people about their problems. They don't go tell their parents when they feel like they want to be mean to somebody. They don't go and talk to their wives. And so people don't know that it's going to happen, and they can't help keep them safe and the other people safe. So one thing we really need to understand is that if we ever start feeling in something inside that feels scary, confused, dark, lonely, mad, that we need to go and talk to somebody about it. That's really important. And to even say to your child, and I am here for you. Doesn't matter what you ever tell me, I am here to be a person to talk with you about anything. So then I would mention to my child that this is a very unusual thing. It's very rare. Most people want to keep other people safe. Most people in the world are good, and they're trying to do good things. While we need to, of course, keep ourselves safe, we shouldn't worry about every other person that's around us. We need to make sure that we are able to just move on, that we are able to have trust, that there's going to be some other people around us that will keep us safe, because most people will. I would mention to my children about faith. So I am a faithful person, and I think there is an element of faith to living your life when you know that there could be dangers. We get in a car, there could be accidents. We, cook on a stove, there could be accidents. There's all kinds of things that we do every day where there could be accidents. But usually, most of the time, almost always, there's not. We need our children to know that, so that their anxiety levels don't get higher anytime they go to a school or to a church or other places like that. We need them to know that it's okay. And we need to show them it's okay by taking steps out and going to see places to see that it's safe. I had a friend who was at a shooting, the same shooting that I was at recently. And it really shook her, because she was very close to the scene of the crime. To see something like that is not something you ever forget. And she said to me, she said, Nicholeen, a few days later, even though it took every bit of courage that I had to go back to that place. And I had to stand in the same place I was, and I had to face it. I had to face the fact that I was okay, and that it was going to be okay, and that I could move on even though these things happened. Sometimes if your child is worried enough about church or about school, sometimes you might just have to go there and say, let's go to our school, let's go to church, let's walk around and see. We are safe. It's okay. They might have to have proof about it in order to get over some of those anxieties. Now, if your child hasn't learned about the shooting and you're just bringing up the concept to them, that's a little bit harder. So if they've already learned about something happening, this tragic event, that's the time you want to have the conversations and let them know how to manage themselves and what you can do to help them through processing this difficult thing. And just to talk about their feelings with you, but also learn in time how to drop the subject, which is one of the steps to the 4 basic skills, which is part of accepting a no answer, because it is a no answer when something tragic happens, something you didn't want to have happen, and there's a point where it's appropriate to grieve and to process through it. And then there's a point where you say, I have to move on from this, and so I've got to drop the subject. I've got to let it go and to get over this and move on, and you have to help them through that too. But if your child has not ever heard of a mass shooting before, I would caution you against bringing it up, just because that's a pretty heavy topic, and not all ages of children could process that very well. If you feel like you need to bring it up for some reason, then I would say, there's sometimes some occasions that where there's, crimes that are done that are just really atrocious, such as, and then I would definitely, and we could talk about mass shootings, but you could say, but these are very much the rare, even though We do hear about them on the news quite a bit. We don't hear about all the safe times that people have had on the news, because there's a lot of those that happen, and we need to just make sure that we're keeping ourselves safe, and we're going to take steps to do that. I just wouldn't get them really afraid, is my thought, unless they already know about it and there's no way for them to not know about it. Then yeah, have the conversation. Really delicate conversations like this, I feel like, happen best with prayer. I would have a prayer. I would ask God to help me know exactly what to say, and I would have him ask me, or have him tell me exactly what not to say as well, because he knows my child. He knows what they need to process better than I do. He can see them on the inside. And so I would be asking for that type of wisdom and guidance if I was going to have this type of a conversation with my child. There are certain ways to have conversations. One method that I use is called a parent counseling session. And you can find out about how to do an appropriate parent counseling session in my TSG parenting course. So that's like a teaching self-government is what that stands for, parenting course, and some of my other trainings and tools. Learning some skills of calmness, some skills of self-government, some skills of communication could really help with this type of conversation and many others. So I highly recommend getting a little bit more information. And so maybe you should start by going to a video. It's a full-length class. It's called The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success, where you'll get more understanding of the skills and principles of self-government there. Click on that video next. I'll see you there.